Dark Messiah of Might and Magic is one of those games that hovers just outside the periphery of our collective memory. If you remember it at all, you probably think of it as the meme game, featuring the adventures of Sir Kix-a-Lot. To be fair, Dark Messiah's got no shortage of dude bootin', but its roots run surprisingly deep. Look around. Nowadays, just about every game in the immersive sim space features a dedicated kick guy button and lets you throw garbage around.
Now sure, Dark Messiah is still technically available on Steam, but it's busted as hell out of the box. That version doesn't even work properly without several patches. There's no fixed up release from GOG, no fancy Night Dive remaster, and you won't find this kicking around on Game Pass, or anywhere else for that matter. For years, Dark Messiah was just a thread away from becoming lost media, if it hadn't been rescued by a passionate modding community.
Wow, small developers are literally saving immersive sims.
I don't get that reference. So what happened to Dark Messiah? Why has it nearly been wiped from the annals of history, only to be whispered about in dark corners? Oh wait, I read that wrong. That's annals of history. Well, anyway, today we're going to find out why Dark Messiah is one of the most influential games you've probably forgotten about, what's being done to save it, and how you, yes you, can help.
As always, hitting all the buttons down there helps us a ton, and you can join the brave champions sitting around the heroes table if you want to help us out. We'll touch on that later in the video. But for now, let's boot some dudes and jump into the nearest spike rack. My name is Boss Saws.
And I'm Roland Kunz. And together, we are the two-headed hero. The story of Dark Messiah actually starts over 30 years ago with a little company called Electronic Arts. Little indie studio. Long before they became the reviled and crumbling AAA monolith that they stand as today, EA was, somewhat smaller AAA monolith. But one of the studios they absorbed like a twin in the womb was Origin Systems, which had previously absorbed another smaller developer by the name of Looking Glass Studios, a team responsible for the first ever immersive sim, Ultima Underworld.
And in the mid-1990s, a skinny, ponytailed, rockstar-looking French dude by the name of Raphael Colantonio was toiling away in the quality assurance department on the port of a little game called System Shock.
Something must have clicked because Colantonio basically said, "Hey, I could make that," and split off to form Arcane in 1999. Nowadays, Colantonio heads Wolf-Eye Studio and celebrates his rock and roll roots in his band Weird Wolves. The former dropped Weird West, an isometric take on the ImSim that reviewed fairly well. The latter shows off his love of mesh tops and goth pop rock. In a state of imperfection and love. Safe to say, this dude keeps busy. But back in the 90s, the dream of making the best immersive games began with 5 friends in southern France, and a cash infusion from a business-savvy uncle. 5 friends from the 90s yells Power Rangers to me. The guy in the tube is the business-savvy uncle, right?
That's Zordon.
What we're saying is Zordon is the business-savvy uncle of the Power Rangers.
Zords with unbelievable power.
What's Rita Repulsa? It's like his divorced aunt or something like that.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's why she's so mean.
Damn.
She's like, make my monster grow.
Make the monster grow!
Oh no, it was a sex thing this whole time?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
What kind of monster is that?
Well, it does have quite a nice zipper, my queen.
Quiet!
Arcane went on to hit some of gaming's highest heights with award-winning titles like Dishonored and Prey 2017. Oh, you. I'll get to you one day, Prey 2017.
You haven't played Prey 2017?
I haven't reviewed Prey 2017.
Oh, I see. I was gonna say, do you even play immersive sims? God.
These games basically perfected the modern immersive sim. Some interviews put Dishonored's conception as early as 2005, but before they could take the big swings necessary to create these masterpieces, Arcane needed something to pay the bills.
In 2002, long before Corvo ever chugged down his first ever can of whale oil, Arcane launched a strange, somewhat clunky, overly ambitious dungeon crawler named Arx Fatalis. This game was positioned to be the third installment in the Underworld series, but EA wasn't buying the pitch. With no Ultima license and no publisher, ARX was retooled to be an original setting and picked up by publisher Joe Wood at the last minute. Even so, much of the Underworld DNA it carried still remained in the finished product. Arx Fatalis was critically praised for its creative rune drawing magic system, but sold poorly. Only to me, and Arcane struggled to find funding for a sequel.
I feel like I've bought Arx Fatalis at least 2 or 3 times.
It's always cheap and it's always worth it.
As luck would have it, another big studio was interested in Arx Fatalis. While Arcane financially floundered, Ubisoft reached out with the intention of creating a more action-oriented Arx game under the Might and Magic franchise. Damn, see, Ubisoft used to be cool. Except not that cool, because according to Cole Antonio, the publishing deal heavily favored Ubisoft. After several years of toil, Arcane presented
Dark Messiah of Might and Magic opens to an ancient prophecy, an armored figure, a mystic gemstone, and a ritual that opens a portal to hell. Appropriately edgy stuff for 2006. Players take on the role of Sareth, an apprentice to a powerful wizard named Fenrig. Straight down the middle, fantasy names, firing on all cylinders here. Sareth is tasked with looting a magic crystal from a dusty old tomb and ensuring its safe delivery to the city of Stonehelm. When the gem is stolen during an attack, it falls to him to track down the thieves and retrieve it by any means necessary. A simple delivery turns into an epic quest, as Sareth is chased by evil cultists, faced with ancient drakes, and fights back the influence of a powerful necromancer, unraveling an ancient prophecy in the process.
It's a solid enough premise, although I'm not sure what this has to do at all with the Might and Magic universe. But Ubisoft requested an action RPG, extra heavy on the action, and Arcane delivered. Combat is the end-all be-all here, rather than the slower-paced imming and simming we saw previously in Arx Fatalis, and it's still just as satisfying 2 decades later.
Remember, The Elder Scrolls IV Oblivion had just come out a few short months before Dark Messiah stumbled onto the scene, but I think the combat is faster, more frantic, more challenging, more visceral here. Just like The Elder Scrolls, Dark Messiah's melee combat features directional swings, power attacks, and leaping strikes. But only one of these games had a rage gauge. Build up enough rage with your melee attacks and you can unleash powerful killing blows that chop off limbs and impale right through a solid breastplate, complete with a very 2000s slow-mo effect. And battles are hard fought. Even the lowliest bandits take a lot of punishment, block and parry your swings, try to outmaneuver you, and run away when things look grim. So, Sareth needs to use every trick he can to survive, and when he fights dirty.
Every encounter feels more like a WWF match than a fantasy battle, down to wrecking the furniture. You never forget the first time you take down a cultist with a face full of wooden crate. Throwing random pottery and kitchen utensils around can get you out of a tight spot. I know it saved me more than once. Pan beats man! But there's no denying that the real star of the show here is the mighty boot. You're gonna use this to crack open crates just as often as you use it to crack open skulls. It's the true definition of a multi-tool. Ooh, plus you get delicious crate pies.
Whoever decorated Dark Messiah made sure that there were tons of spike beds, bonfires, and walkways with precarious OSHA violations all over the damn place. It's like living in a land filled with Chekhov's guns and they're all going off in the third act. It's up to you to put your size 12s to the task and ragdoll them right into the nearest workplace hazard. A lot of care was taken to make sure the environment feels alive. Fire propagates on oil and wood, electricity spreads in water, precariously stacked barrels can be knocked onto a guard's head, and so on. Sareth is pretty rough on the architecture, and you'll find plenty of load-bearing beams to destroy during your adventures. The game has no shortage of special Indiana Jones moments that really stick with you, whether you're sending a massive incense burner flying towards a crowd of bandits, playing hide and seek with the Shai Halud, or dropping a gate on a dragon's head.
Crushing that dragon will net you a pretty big experience bonus, and like any good RPG, with experience brings rewards. Right here, next to your good old-fashioned grid inventory, you can see the 3 skill trees: combat, magic, and stealth.
Ah, yes, the 3 genders: combat, magic, and stealth.
None of these run nearly as deep as I'd like, unfortunately, but there's still enough wiggle room to make your version of Sareth as you see fit. On the downside, gear is gated behind certain levels of skill, which means you'll often be carrying around a sword or 2 that you don't have the ability to swing until much later in the game.
Due to the focus on fighting and kicking, you're going to be some kind of fighter no matter what. But your build can be somewhat tempered by magic and stealth. Fighter skills are pretty straightforward. Add more damage to your swings, lift heavier shields, get a bigger health pool, the usual. Gear synergy goes a long way into making a build, since so many of the weapons and armor have special effects, and I was surprised at the sheer variety. Off the beaten path, there's tons of secret weapons to discover, and lots of choices depending on how you want to play and what kind of enemies you're facing. There's a badass staff that returns damage as a bolt of lightning, magical assassin blades, big flaming swords, and just a friggin' meat hook.
Hey, it's a really good meat hook. The mage tree contains a limited spell list that requires heavy skill tree investment to really pay off, with a couple duds like Fire Trap that I just didn't find much of a use for, and a charm spell that was way too much fun. I love causing chaos in games, and it was really great to relive my Skyrim illusionist days once again. The heal spell is indispensable, but maybe a little too broken. Once you find this, you basically never run out of health items for the rest of the game. The lowly Firebolt spell is a controllable missile that follows your aim around until it impacts a target, which makes it way more versatile even into the late game. Other spells like Freeze come in handy from time to time for providing some breathing room or making stairways into hilarious death traps for orcs, but all in all it felt more effective to be Kickman than rely on your arcane wiles to get by.
The stealth tree is even more limited. You can dip into it for the takedowns and the crits, but it's more useful for finding hidden objects and increasing your mana reserves. There's no such thing as a pure stealth build here. Combat is always required to advance the story. But after looking at this random mess of skills, I kinda wonder what the design process was like. Certain skills don't feel like they belong, and others are gated behind some strange choices. Like, why aren't the bow feats listed here under stealth instead of under combat? Why are the mana skills here instead of under magic? Why is the sneaking skill locked under the item searching skill?
Outside of combat, you'll be traversing massive secret-strewn levels. Now, Dark Messiah is a linear game, but the levels can feel a little too open at times. Some are unfocused or have poor signposting. This adds up to a lot of wandering around if you happen to miss the one interactable door that looks just like the rest of the set dressing. This isn't uncommon for games from the early 2000s, it's far before signposting was a major consideration, and way before yellow paint took over the AAA adventure experience.
On the upside, controlling Sareth feels quick and responsive. He scoots across precarious rooftops, makes death-defying leaps, and mantles his way up crumbling ledges with ease. Occasionally, you'll run into a locked gate or dead end and have to find a way around it, but there's no tired block pushing or switch combination puzzles to be found here. Instead, you're knocking over pillars to make bridges or swimming beneath a pirate ship to find a stealthy way aboard. Almost all of the challenges the game puts in your way boil down to, how the hell do I get over there? This approach grounds a lot of the puzzles in the world itself. Nothing feels much like arbitrary video gamey stuff. Figuring out a clever spot to use the rope arrow or where to break a vital piece of architecture often comes into play and can reveal treasures beyond your wildest dreams. I mean, you know, if your dreams are mostly about video game loot.
The story in Dark Messiah is kinda dumb. But the fact that it's delivered almost entirely through first-person visions and cutscenes is a really nice touch. It makes you feel like you're part of the action, and other than a few bonehead generic hero man lines, Sareth is mostly a silent protagonist.
Indeed. I seem to be surrounded by women who want things from me.
Sure, the plot is a bit dumb, but it's the fun kind of dumb, like a semi-predictable popcorn flick that never takes a second to let you catch your breath. You'll be shuttled from one set piece to the next at breakneck speed, leaving you to try to mull over all the plot holes during the quiet moments when you're poking around in dark tunnels.
There's also the question of why this is even set in the Might and Magic universe in the first place. There hadn't been a mainline Might and Magic game for several years at that point, since party-based dungeon crawlers were largely out of vogue, and Dark Messiah doesn't contain any of the same hardcore RPG mechanics or cheeky humor that the series was known for. Ubisoft got the Might and Magic rights when Studio 3DO's properties were being carved up like a Christmas ham back in 2003, and all of the subsequent games appeared to be separated from the continuity of the original series.
Did Ubisoft think they were going to attract an audience that was hungry for a new Might and Magic RPG? Were they looking to compete with Morrowind and Oblivion? It's never really made clear. But anyways, this is your spoiler warning. Big spoilers ahoy! So if you want to experience the full story for yourself, and are worried about spoilers for a 20-year-old game, skip on ahead to the next chapter.
Oh fuck, is that the spoilers skeleton? Oh fuck. Ah, he's back. Ah, damn it, he's definitely back.
I'm back, and I'm here to spoil the shit out of Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. What do you mean it's 20 years old?
As Sareth, apprentice to the sorcerer Fenrig, your first task is to retrieve the majestic Shantiri crystal from a dusty-ass tomb. This crystal is not just used as accent lighting. Apparently, it's the key to finding the Skull of Shadows, a definitely not at all evil-sounding artifact of questionable power. So when Fenrig's colleague, Lord Menelag, requests to use the crystal to help search for the skull, Fenrig is happy to oblige.
Fenrig sends his most competent intern,
That's you!
on a mission to deliver the big shiny gem to the city of Stonehelm. I mean, Fenrig's bald, he's got a goatee and a greasy little ponytail, and his entire wardrobe is heavy on robes. This is definitely a guy that seems like he's invested in your well-being.
He and I have certain mutual interests.
But before you can jump out the door, he puts a weird lady inside of your mind, and you wake up sometime later at the beginning of Skyrim.
You're finally awake.
Just as you pull up to the city gate, Stonehelm is attacked and a castle falls right on your head. Man, your head's been through a lot already. After single-handedly driving off a horde of ghouls with a hail of exploding ballista bolts, and receiving a near-zero amount of fanfare for your heroics, you head downtown to Lord Menelag's manor. Here you run into his niece, Leanna, another aspiring student of the arcane arts.
Sorry, I'm Leanna, Menelag's niece and pupil.
Take one look at Leanna. Can you figure out what the developers had in mind here? If you guessed unearned love triangle between the blonde supermodel and the weird woman in your head, well congrats, you get a cookie. Lord Menelag and Leanne treat you to a nice first-person dinner before you're off to bed. But that night, your peaceful snooze is broken by a servant shaking you awake. The manor is under attack. After beating off your bedroom invader...
No,
No,
not like that.
After fending off your bedroom invader, you stab your way through waves of cultists, only to find that a ghoul has fatally stabbed Menelag and stolen the Shantiri crystal. Dastardly bastards!
Yeah, that's one way of putting it. You pursue the ghoul in a dangerous rooftop chase only to find a cultist base quietly nestled in a warehouse down by the docks. In the ancient tunnels below, you find sinister black stonework, cells filled with live prisoners, and a powerful necromancer using the crystal to open a portal, which is apparently pretty impressive. This is your first peek at Erentyr, a dark wizard that intends to harness the power of the legendary Skull of Shadows for his own devices. So at this point, we're supposed to believe that Sareth is still a wimpy little apprentice. He's no match for Erentyr, despite saving an entire city from a giant zombie and single-handedly slaughtering about 100 guards. So you gotta tiptoe around Erentyr to keep him from spotting you. What's this handy lever do? Opening the cells sacrifices a whole bunch of prisoners so that you can take your shot at stealing back the crystal. We thank you for your sacrifice, unnamed prisoner 1 through 10.
This is all on the up and up so far. Lil Sareth is very sleepy after his big day of moral indiscretion and decides to take a snoozer in the cozy embrace of the sewer tunnels. Thoughts trickle back to when your master joined you with the brain lady, but you remember things very differently this time. Fenrig mutters some evil supervillain stuff while Xana reveals herself to be a naked sleep paralysis demon before she screams you awake through your dreams.
Xana has already been quietly shit-talking in the back of your skull here and there, but after this point she pops in basically any time you hit a significant plot point or pause to enjoy a beautiful vista, interrupting the vibes with some sort of horny wisecrack.
This is a nice, quiet place. Oh, too bad we have other things to do.
Now, the developers probably wanted to nail the point home that she's a bad succubus trying to corrupt you or some such thing. And yeah, I get it, but man, Might and Magic's always been more of a bright, family-friendly, vibrant fantasy epic, never an overtly sexual IP. This just kinda comes across as pandering to the sweaty gamer boy energy of the early 2000s, which it probably is.
Cue the montage of various horrible magazine ads.
All Lara Croft, all the time.
Liana finds you in the sewers, marking the ending to the most awkward first date of all time. She shows off her tremendous box-moving power to let you know that she's a real wizard, for goddammit sakes. To let you know she's a real wizard, for serious. It's not a phase, Dad. And then she puts you right back to work stealing an entire pirate ship from Erentier's cult.
The boat level is pretty fun. You find out firsthand that the cultists don't know how to swim. If you try to take the head-on approach, you'll meet the wrong end of one of those exploding ballistas that you saw in the opening chapter. So you'll have to get a little sneaky with it. There's a cool staff lying on the ground right here that can suck up magic and send powerful lightning bolts back at the caster. Comes in handy when you meet these freaky cultist mages for the first time. You can even have a chat with a goblin or two down in the hold, and these little guys will help you out if you free them from their cages. All in all, it's a good time playing Jack Sparrow for a second. It's too bad this is capped off with a wave defense section that really overstays its welcome. As a reward, Liana will pull you aside to confess her true feelings for you in an incredibly awkward captive moment.
I thought everything was lost, but somehow you managed to get the crystal, the boat. You saved us all. You saved me.
I feel nauseous. Wake me when it's over.
I just wanted to thank you again and to tell you that you've become very important to me.
Totally unearned romantic subplot must have been in the standard blueprint for games of this era.
Your new crew sails off towards the supposed resting site of the Skull of Shadows. That night, you have a weird dream about Liana. No, not that kind of dream, goddammit. She's partying with Erentier above decks, and when you cut in, shplam! Shplammo! Bingo bongo! Right in the katootie! You drive a knife right into her guts. Not sure if there's some kind of metaphor here?
Probably not.
Probably not. When you wake up next, you're on a rowboat with no explanation of how you got there. Probably stabbed your way there. Gotta love this little tidbit. If Liana hates you or Liana dies, your mission is a failure. Okay, so like an escort mission? But if Liana hates you, so it's also a failure? Wait, are we getting some dating sim mechanics here?
I'm not good at this.
The answer is no. Just don't bonk her with your sword. So very light dating sim mechanics.
That's like the bare minimum dating sim.
Listen, when you got that dating sim open, simply don't ever press R2. You're fine.
Yeah.
Fortunately, you can leave her at a safe distance while you kick some orcs around instead.
As you pull up to the sandy beaches of the island of the temple, you find the dead and dying members of Menelag's expedition. Turns out they were overrun by a powerful indigenous orc tribe who are honor-bound to defend these ancient halls. What's worse, there's a Pao Kai sweeping overhead. A big flying lizard. Basically, it's a dragon. So Sareth ends up carving through about 100 more orcs and nails the dragon with that classic Luke Skywalker gate trick. There's a ton of cool set pieces here, tons of opportunities to collapse ancient architecture, plenty of places to kick orcs off of, and some really good goblin moments. Almost felt bad taking these little guys out. There's a new tool in the form of the rope bow and a super shitty part where you have to climb up a well full of spiders while using said rope bow.
No thanks.
And hey, another Cyclops. Except this is the first one that you're seeing alive. You don't have an exploding crossbow in your back pocket, but that single eye is one big juicy grapefruit of a target, isn't it?
You make your way to the top of the temple and plug in the Shantiri crystal, where the orc chieftain Eritrak challenges you to a 1v1 because you got a demon lady in your head.
Interloper, did you subscribe to the channel yet?
Hey man, you gotta let go of my neck.
Not until you like and subscribe the video and leave a comment saying, please, pretty please, Eritrak, let go of my neck.
Bro, I can't do it. I'm gonna pass out.
Too bad. Then you get choke slammed. Okay guys, go ahead and rifle through his pockets and donate any change he has to patreon.com/twoheadedhero or be a YouTube member. Either way.
It's clear these orcs have a code of honor of some kind, and the rest of the orcs leave you alone if you win your duel. So why can't you at least attempt to form a treaty with these guys? Like, just explain that Arantir is bad news and enlist them to help out.
Whatever. Leanna powers up now that the Shantiri crystal is finally plugged into its USB slot. And what do you know, at that exact moment, you're ambushed by Arantir. He kills Leanna with a psychic concussion. Nothing to do for her, so you escape into the catacombs below, where traps, dozens of zombies, and one irritating statue block your path to the Skull of Shadows. And upon reaching it, a vision floods your mind. The demon sovereign Kabbaleth rises from the pit. Zana goes full horny posting on main, and your allies lie dead at your feet. The Demon Lord reveals himself as your true father and demands you use the skull to release him from his prison in the underworld. But Arantir catches you in the middle of your exposition dump and impales you on a convenient spike, stealing the skull from your grasp and leaving you for dead.
Wait, does that mean we're the Dark Messiah? This would surely be a dark story if it just ended here, but this is where we get to the Messiah part, I guess. Zana brings you back to life with her demonic powers, granting you the ability to shift into demon form. It's pretty good at clearing out hordes of enemies when you've got no other options, like right now, since the orcs took all your stuff before throwing your body into whatever they use as a refrigerator. But it makes you more vulnerable and costs health to use, and by this point, your weapons and armor are pretty strong. Once you get your gear back, you'll probably forget you have the power to turn into a demon for the rest of the game.
The orc caves take you through abandoned mine shafts, yet another Cyclops fight, a tough trial and error section where you evade the sandworm from Beetlejuice, and a few really cool battles where vast chunks of the arena fall into the pit below. After a long climb up, the warmth of daylight kisses your face at last. A boat awaits you on the beach, manned by your trusty comrade, Duncan. Don't know who Duncan is? Me neither. I guess it's this guy right here.
A worthy sword arm is always welcome.
He's very worthy, Duncan.
But America runs on Duncan.
He's the guard commander of Stonehelm, and I guess we're supposed to know who he is somehow. When he learns of Leanna's death, he suggests booking it to the Silver Cities, but changes his tune pretty quick when you mention you're going after Arantir.
We didn't stop him because we were waiting for you and the skull. Sheox Gates! Arantir's got it, hasn't he?
Anybody want to take the odds on Duncan surviving? We got 2-1, 50-1.
Oh, maybe it's Duncan, Idaho. If it's Duncan, Idaho, he's golden. Anyways, you travel back to Stonehelm, back to the Necromancer base in the sewers. They've done some remodeling, but that portal to Necromancer land works now. So you head on through and behead the entire academy in order to find out what Arantir has planned. Nar Haresh, the land of necromancy, is appropriately dark and spooky. That dark vision spell is gonna get a workout here. But the decor is pretty cool. Kind of a cross between Egyptian tomb and Dracula castle vibes. Your aim here is to figure out Arantir's plan and steal back the Skull of Shadows. Fortunately, Arantir follows the big bad evil guy playbook down to the letter and leaves a massive tome detailing his plans right out in the open. So he doesn't forget, I guess. It's kind of my playbook too.
You leave your evil plans out in the open?
Otherwise, I'm gonna forget all those fucking evil plans.
Helpful for FBI, vulnerable for you.
I guess his plan is to head down to the massive necropolis below Stonehelm and summon the Avatar of Death to somehow kill everyone in the city and seal away Kabbaleth until the sun goes cold.
I mean, that's a plan. I don't know if it's a great plan, but dude, Why do you care? I mean, Sareth is a tourist here. It's clear that your master Fenrig planned to use you somehow to bring Big Daddy back from hell. The one lady that took a psychologically unhealthy liking to you is already dead.
You have
So why bother? For just a basic sense of morality? Some sense of familial loyalty for a demonic sperm donor that you've never met in your life? Or just sunk cost fallacy? Hey, I've come this far, might as well see it through. I guess you could blow off the main quest, but then you'd have a demon in your head nagging you about it for the rest of your days, so that sounds pretty awful. And after interrogating a few necromancers down in the lab, it turns out Liana is still alive and being held in the spider pit down below.
Yay.
You can choose to take down the biggest, baddest spider in the world and save her, or not, which does have a small effect on the ending.
Yeah, it makes all the spiders sad. Either way, you see that things have gotten worse upon returning to the surface. Everything's on fire and there's ghouls moving in. Property values are shooting down. But Duncan, Idaho has your back. Yeah, Duncan, your best friend from an hour ago. No evil can withstand you if you have Duncan by your side, right?
Oh.
Well, pour one out for Duncan. Guess you should have just sailed on out to those silver cities and left us all behind, buddy.
We should take the ship and flee. Maybe the Silver Cities.
Actually, it's possible to save him, but pulling this off doesn't get you anything. Not even a line of dialogue for Duncan?
Come on, they did Duncan dirty.
One little Duncan dialogue line.
You fight your way towards the necropolis to stop Arantir. Here's another Cyclops. Wish they would have invested in some more bosses. Stonehelm looks pretty cool, even when it's on fire. About halfway through, you'll learn that you can get rid of your demon passenger at the Temple of Elaf, a white beacon of hope towering high above the city. Zana doesn't take kindly to this, but it'll net you some of the best weapons in the game, and also slightly changes which endings you'll have access to. But the best gift of all is she'll finally shut the fuck up. You kill another Paukai with an exploding ballista and open a big old door down to the necropolis. And I mean, like, this is a big door, impressively large door. If you cleansed Zana and saved Liana, Liana will be waiting for you right here. She does not help you at all, though.
Down in the depths of the necropolis, there's a small side quest. Free the spirit of an ancient king.
Help me! Help me, and I'll help you!
Who's literally been hanging out above the abyss for generations. Whee! Taking the time to break his chains and free him makes a couple battles easier later on. And there's yet another Cyclops fight.
I actually labeled the footage here another damn Cyclops.
What is that, 5, 6? Finally, we see this massive chamber, an ancient ruin where the final showdown with Arantir takes place. Liana shows up to be not so helpful again, if she's still alive. Arantir tries to take you down by summoning up some big scary bone dragons and hiding behind force fields, but honestly, this fight was a pushover at this point.
I gave him the finger until he fell down.
You have beaten and murdered the world.
No! We'll find a way to avoid his prophecies of doom and death.
Then it was time for the big decision.
So like we mentioned before, there's actually several minor plot branches depending on whether or not Liana dies, whether or not the player exercises Zana, and whether or not they destroy the Skull of Shadows. But generally the ending boils down to one of two choices. Kill Demon Dad forever, or let Demon Dad loose and destroy world as Demon Father and Demon Son. One of these is the family-friendly wholesome plot. Which one could it be?
So yeah, the plot is holier than a butterfly net in the Temple of Elaf. So many questions. What is going on during those periods of lost time? What were you doing when you wake up on horseback, on a rowboat, or in the sewers? Is Zana taking over your body at those points? If she can take over your body, why doesn't she just do the entire quest instead? If you plan to destroy the Skull of Shadows to seal in your daddy, why not just smash that thing as soon as you see it, half a game earlier? Or if the Shantiri crystal is the key to the skull's resting place, why not just chuck it into the ocean or something so no one can find it?
But let's be honest, the storyline is far from Dark Messiah's real draw. You're here to slice up some ghouls and kick orcs off a bridge and look good while doing it. Fortunately, Dark Messiah looked pretty great when it came out, and I tend to think it still holds up today. Dark tunnels twist and branch out below the city of Stonehelm. Ancient temples lie half buried in the desert sands, their secrets untouched for untold generations. Stunning vistas lie far beyond the city, out of reach. I mean, this is a game running in Source, which has its hits and misses, but I always feel like some of the stuff in Source Engine games stands up to the test of time. Maybe it's an X factor, maybe it's just nostalgia, but I love the way that the water looks here and the ever-present god beams and early 2000s bloom everywhere. It's a vibe that you just don't quite get from modern games. Although that bloom can be overkill when it comes to some of the weapon effects. Oh, cool, glow-in-the-dark daggers.
The community restoration patch adds a whole new level of beauty to the game, in addition to squashing a bunch of the bugs and unlocking some buried features. We'll talk more about this in a minute, but let's just say a lot of the assets were improved and cut content was added back in from the later Xbox 360 release. This is the version you've been seeing the whole time throughout the video, and I think both the visuals and art direction really shine, especially when it comes to the creature designs.
The zombie Cyclops and Orc Warrior are definite standouts. It's no wonder they were heavily featured in the game's promo materials. And just like in Arx Fatalis, this game gives you good goblins. I kinda felt bad busting up these little guys, murderous as they might be. They're weak alone, preferring to attack in packs, and usually try to run away as soon as you offer up some resistance, but they also have some of the best dialogues in the game.
Orc eat goblin, goblin eat orc. Me already tasted it. Not so bad. One day Greek give me both livers. He said it brings power and strength. You remember, Doc?
Not a pair of livers, I think.
What? You mean it's not a pair of livers?
Orc only have one liver. I think you eat pair of something else.
This brings me to the audio. The voice acting is a high point, there's a ton of it here. A definite fantasy cheese factor hangs over every performance, but I found it to be pretty charming.
Please, follow me.
With pleasure. I mean, yes. Excellent.
Even Zana, cringy as she might be, delivers some cartoonishly evil lines from time to time.
Breathtaking, isn't it?
And once you recover the skull and free your father, it will all be yours. Perhaps even without your father.
Like Arx Fatalis before it, Dark Messiah contains dozens of overheard voice chatter lines from enemies and NPCs. Sometimes you'll hear a useful tip, but more often than not, you'll just be a fly on the wall witnessing a silly moment.
3 bells left on our watch.
Quit your bitching. It's an easy enough duty.
If I didn't bitch, how would you know it was me?
This goes a long way to making the game feel like a fully lived-in world, of which Sareth is only a small part.
The soundtrack is stuffed with high fantasy bangers that will be right at home in Game of Thrones. It's no wonder considering the pedigree. Chris Velasco is famous for the unforgettable music in Mass Effect, and Sasha Dakishian, also known as Sonic Mayhem, is the mastermind that did the Quake 2 soundtrack. These guys came together to expertly create haunting songs like the dark string reveries in Red Skull Island, the tense edginess in Gleam of a Cold Knife, and several other war drum beating battle songs that bridge the gap between classical and industrial.
Beauty isn't everything, though. Dark Messiah has some problems, and many of them look like Cyclops. The addition of some more mini-boss monsters would have gone a long way to add memorable moments. There's also an underlying feeling of jank with the climbing mechanics, and a few of the levels drag out a bit longer than they need to. Also, there's a couple of pitfalls of spiders for all you spider fans out there. Even so, this game is a straight march from beginning to end. There's not much in the way of side quests to speak of, and very little replay value. The original retail version also had its share of crashes, bugs, and issues, many of which carry over here and even supersede the fantastic work done by the restoration patch.
So I guess it's finally time to talk about this mysterious Dark Messiah restoration mod that we've been dangling over your heads the entire time. The mod's lead developer, Dave Wiltos, recently made the news with an announcement that Ubisoft had basically given the team free rein with the game's assets, including support from Valve, in the form of the latest Source 1 SDK. With all these tools at their disposal, the team plans on making a fully revamped community version of Dark Messiah, which is honestly just wild to see for a 20-year-old game.
Yeah, you love to see it. I hope that happens more. In the meantime, the restoration mod is largely functional, and you can use it to play a much nicer version of Dark Messiah on modern machines. This is the version you've been seeing throughout this entire video. This mod does more than just add modern resolution support and squash some bugs. It restores cut levels, upgrades textures, and adds in a whole bunch of weapons and items from the Xbox 360 version of the game. Over the last year, we've seen entire cut levels restored, new mechanics like gameplay mutators, and the beginning of a roguelike arena mode.
So yeah, that all sounds real good for ImSim sickos, but you don't have to take our word for it. Recently I was able to sit down with King David, aka Dave Wiltos, who spearheads the skilled and passionate team that's bringing the Community Edition to life. We spent an hour discussing his aspirations for the mod, his trip to Ubisoft, and talked about our favorite moments in Dark Messiah. Here's what he has to say about his aspirations for the project.
Game preservation to me is a big deal. I would say that that's actually why the restoration mod came to be as a whole. Because originally, I was working on this co-op mod and the game is in a broken state. And a lot of the fixes I had to do just to get the co-op working, you realize that, well, actually I may actually be fixing the game at this point. And then you start hearing people with more issues and you can't help but realize that people probably deserve to play this game at the best state, the way I played it, when it was working properly. So that's where that restoration mod kind of branched out and did that. The way that I've always been talking about the project is it is a community edition. We're a bunch of people who are not getting paid. We're spending as much free time as we can on this thing, and we're doing a whole game studio's work trying to get this done as fast as possible. I've got level designers, we've got character artists, we got all sorts of things like that, and they're making beautiful work. I would hope that people get to enjoy this game like I did when it first came out, like basically having a new experience from something they already love and being able to rekindle that fire.
Thanks again to King David for taking the time. If you want to hear the rest of this 1-hour interview, it's on our Patreon right now. If there's enough noise in the comments, I'll consider dropping it as a new video sometime in the future. The restoration mod is just one part of a whole suite of mods for Dark Messiah, all lovingly cobbled together over the years by the WiltOS team. An RTX version is currently in testing, there's a handy mod manager menu, the multiplayer has been resurrected, and oh, did we forget to mention the co-op mod?
Yes, there is a co-op multiplayer mod for Dark Messiah. Yes, it is still a bit, very undercooked and janky since it basically runs off of Half-Life 2's ancient multiplayer mode. And yes, it's very fun to run around and kick guys with your buddies. Here's a few highlights from our session to give you a taste.
Flank him. Oh geez. Oh geez. Why are you backing up all weird? The zombies also come back, so it's like, oh shit. Oh, that guy just dropped coffins everywhere. Oh my god.
Is that good?
Oh, I stepped on the dude and it made crunchy bone noises.
I got a pot.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's another one. We got pots.
We got pots.
Let's
okay,
go.
get him.
We take
pot
him
attack, pot attack. Good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck you,
I'll
man.
kick him. Yeah, I kicked his head off.
Kick him to death.
Oh, let's go. Oh, he farted. Oh, jeez. Oh, there's another one.
So many of them. This orc don't want to be kicked, dude.
Oh, he will. See? Kick him. Yeah, bye-bye. See you later, bitches.
A rare double kick.
Yeah. Right. Well, this feels like a proof of concept. Your stuff carries over between levels, the skill trees seem to work, and the default player models have horrifying vagina faces. So that's a W. There's plenty of visual glitches and occasional crashes to iron out as to be expected, but honestly, we had a pretty awesome time with this. Multiplayer ImSims are somewhat of a unicorn out there in the gaming landscape. Co-op box stackers are even more precious. So if the WiltOS team pulls through on modernizing this experience with actual Steam matchmaking and server browsers, I think Dark Messiah is going to experience a renaissance like we haven't seen before. Because we believe so much in the future of this ancient game, we made a step-by-step companion video that'll get it up and running in the easiest way possible. So be sure to check that out if you're looking to play Dark Messiah for yourself.
Critical reception to Dark Messiah of Might and Magic was all over the board back when it was released. This Metacritic page is a rainbow of review scores. European gaming mags largely praised it for the furious combat, immersive elements, and impressive set pieces, with scores as high as 93% from Game Informer. American critics placed it in the 7 out of 10 range, decrying its bugs and lackluster storyline. Honestly, both fair.
Yep, I can't really find a fault with that. However, the lowest review is from the now extinct oneup.com website, where reviewer Tom Chick gave the game a scathing 4 out of 10. I managed to actually dig this up thanks to the Wayback Machine, so support your local internet archive, kids. And after reading this, I can only think, wow, maybe Tom Chick was having a bad day when he wrote this. Oh look, he made an OSHA joke too. Chick cited a laundry list of complaints and labeled it with the title of The Adventures of Sir Kixalot Deathboot in the Land of Conspicuously Placed Spike Racks, which is very funny. Lots of absolute nuggets just like this one in the article, but many of the points he paints as a negative were actually things I liked about the game. Wait a second, is this the same guy right here? I guess he's still writing reviews on Patreon. Huh.
Happy endings are getting more and more rare in the industry, and clearly Dark Messiah walked so that Dishonored and Prey could run. But no matter what one grumpy reviewer might have written 20 years ago, you can't discount the incredible impact that Dark Messiah has on the current crop of indie immersive sims. At the end of the day, it's wonderful to see enough people care about a good old game for it to get a redemption arc, even if its influence has mostly been an invisible hand when it comes to game design over the last 2 decades. The next time you're knee-deep inside a hot new box stacker and you climb that rope, parry that sword, or kick that man off a ledge, I want you to think of the adventures of Sir Kixalot Deathboot in the land of conspicuously placed spike racks.
So if you've gotten this far, thanks for watching. Big shout out to all the brave heroes that keep us going, whether they gather around the tavern over on Patreon, toss a coin in our tip jars, or join the ranks of YouTube members. Let's have one more round for the brave heroes that keep our cozy tavern fire burning, such as
Wolfgang Bristol,
Yaroslav Rybaki,
Adam Uselman,
Amelie McNamara,
James Blake,
Jim DiFrancesco,
Warpays,
Cameron Frement,
Dominic Nguyen,
John Williams,
Mahogany God King, Vinny 2142. Now that's a futuristic Vinny.
Muggs McGurk 812. Now that's a Dark Ages Muggs McGurk.
I'm Judah Packmaker.
And the rest. If you're still here, thank you all so much for your support.
And let us know if we've mispronounced your name.
Anything you decide to donate helps us out far more than you know. But if you're unable to kick a couple coins our way, you can really help us out by hitting all the buttons down there, mashing a comment in that little text box, and shaking that algorithm like an orc on a rope bridge. If you want to get started with modding Dark Messiah for yourself, don't forget to check out our guide. It should be showing up on your screen right about now.
Thanks for watching, and thanks for 10,000 subs. See you on the next Two-Headed Hero.